You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Thursday Night AngryMarks.com Pro Wrestling and Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. My name is Stevie J, and I want to say a happy 40th birthday to my lovely wife, Lady J, aka Michelle. She is super awesome for still letting me record a podcast tonight, but it's going to be a shorter than usual show because there's only two of us and producer Kev on the line. It's just me, and co-hosting is Jason Harland, aka The Great Sudoku.
And right off the bat, I got to thank you, Stevie J, for not drafting me to the SmackDown Rundown.
Yeah, and you would have been picked higher than Heath Slater if you had been, I guarantee it.
I would hope so. I hope I wouldn't be picked dead last out of all the hosts on Angry Marks.
No, you would not be left standing there waiting to get the call, and we wouldn't turn out the lights on you.
Yeah, that kind of entertained me. It's like in the moment I was heated just from all the shit that went down with the draft, but having reflected on it, that was probably my favorite part of the draft, was at the end of the night him just sitting there and them turning the lights off on him.
For the comedy value and the fact that he was willing to be put in that position to be humiliated, I got to give him props for that. And the fact that the very next day they actually played it up on WWE.com and said that since he was a free agent, quote unquote, he could go to Evolve now.
I was thinking it'd be funnier to have him show up on Bo's shows and have security remove him from Bo's shows.
I honestly think it would be even better if he really did show up at Evolve, if they let him do it, if they just like, yeah, go work Evolve 65, have a match with Cody Rhodes, you know, two former WWE guys, even though you're still really with us.
That would be pretty cool.
Yes, it would. It would be fun. But speaking of fun, if we're able to hang on for 30 minutes, we'll also have Jordan J. Garber joining us for Jordan's Corner. But in the meantime, we've got some news to discuss, starting with Brock Lesnar failing yet another drug test.
Brock. UFC 200, my man. This is a huge event. You had to know that USADA does doping tests for the UFC. You had to know that you were going to get tested for one of the biggest events in the world. What was going through your head, man? What was going through your head?
And he can't just use the excuse anymore that I passed 5 out of the 6 tests and I only failed on the 6th, so there's something wrong with the test, because now that he's failed the second test, that doesn't pass the smell test.
And if from what I was reading, he failed that in-competition test for the same estrogen-blocking substance that the out-of-competition test was for as well, I believe.
Right. The current scuttlebutt, is whatever you want to call it, is that he failed for the same thing John Jones failed for, and John Jones failed for clomiphene, which is an estrogen blocker.
Which is what people, when they're coming down off of cycles of steroids, take to kind of get it out of their system quicker, from what I understand.
Well, it's a masking agent. What it basically does is helps you balance out your testosterone and your epitestosterone, because when you're taking steroids, your body stops naturally producing testosterone. So when your epitestosterone is higher than your testosterone, we get a gynecomastia, which is where you look a little more female.
Where Meatloaf and Fight Club had to have his pecs drained.
Yeah, that's the same thing. You got it.
Yeah. He was a juicer, man.
Brock Lesnar does not need a bigger chest than he already has. It's pretty massive to begin with.
Boy, yeah, I hope Brock Lesnar doesn't end up joining any fight clubs. That would not be a pretty scene.
No, it would not. And the thing that's really boggling about this is they were on again, off again about whether or not he was part of the draft. And honestly, I was a little stunned that they drafted him with this latest revelation. Like, this doesn't really reflect well on WWE that this is on their list of prohibited substances for performers, and they are not flagging him for it.
Not only that, but he was drafted back-to-back with a guy who's already suspended for wellness policy violation in Roman Reigns. It was like picks 2 and 3 for them or something, or they were second-round picks. But still, right. It was like,
yeah,
Raw is the juicer show.
And actually, it's not juice in Roman Reigns' case. Again, I'm going to call it scuttlebutt because WWE doesn't have to release it. There's no part of their policy that says they have to. Unlike USADA, they require a hearing, and at the hearing, it gets disclosed to the public. WWE has no such procedures in place, so we're never going to know for sure. But the scuttlebutt is that it was for Adderall, which was the same thing Adam Rose got popped for when he got his 60 days.
They do not like Adderall if you've got a prescription for it or not, apparently.
No, it seems to be on their 100% do not take list. Even though Adam Rose had a prescription and it was signed by a doctor and it all looked legit, either he took the wrong dose of it and they didn't like it, or they thought the doctor was full of crap and wrote him a script for something he shouldn't have, one or the other.
Yeah, I heard it was fat burners that Roman got popped for, but that's all hearsay. None of us really know.
No, we don't. But it honestly wouldn't be surprising if it was Adderall, because if you're not taking it for ADHD, one of the positive beneficial side effects of it is it increases alertness and gives you more energy. So if you're the kind of guy that's going on the road every single day for tapings and house shows, it's the kind of thing I can see you taking.
So yeah, we'll know it was Adderall if he comes back and goes, I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. Ooh, a puppy. Look at that.
Right, yeah. As soon as he's off his meds and he can't concentrate on anything, he'll just forget the script and go off on his own.
Yep. Then we'll know it was Adderall for sure.
All right. Well, I think that's enough talk about drug test failures in the draft. We can move on now to more exciting things, more fun things that we enjoyed, like this week's G1 Climax show.
Yeah, the G1 Climax kicked off earlier this week on the 18th, bright and early at, 2 in the morning here Eastern time. Oh, boy. It was fun getting up for, but yeah, I mean, I do want to talk about some of the preliminary multi-man tag team matches, because right off the bat, we had Tiger Mask, Jushin Liger, Manabu Nakanishi, and Katsuyori Shibata taking on Captain fucking New Japan, Ryosuke Taguchi, Kushida, and Tomoaki Honma. But the real story was this, with this match, was Shibata and Honma's just anger and fury from their previous never open weight championship title match spilling through, and the two of them just trading forearms early and no-selling. And it was fun to see the two of them just kind of continue that feud. Even though Honma lost the match, the animosity between those two, between him and Shibata, was still really high, and it shone through really early in this match with the two of them just forearming the shit out of each other.
It looked like a mean guy match. I won't offer deep analysis of this one. I just enjoyed the clubbering, as it were.
Yeah, and guess who ate the pin in this one?
You don't have to guess. It's pretty obvious.
Captain, we do need Killer Kev to make a Captain fucking New Japan drop for times like this on the show. But yeah, Nakanishi put him up in a torture rack, just kind of dropped him flat on his face and pinned him.
That was actually the part that got me the most. Was I knew he was going to take the pin, but when I saw him go down flat on his face, I was like, oh man, ouch.
Like, ow, yeah, it's like usually when Nakanishi takes somebody up, the person will tap out of that hold, and I don't know if Captain New Japan, wanted to take that bump, or if Nakanishi just doesn't like Captain New Japan. It was fun nonetheless seeing Captain New Japan land flat on his face, and yeah, Captain New Japan and Captain Noah both got drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah, I'll say if they really do need more jobbers and they're bringing jobbers back like all the dirt sheets say, then hire Captain New Japan because he'll do the job for you.
No, he sure will, boy. Yeah, and he jobbed on that one, but yeah, the real story with that match is just the continuing animosity between Shibata and Hanma. It's like, if you want to watch any of the preliminary matches before the A block matches for the G1 Climax started, definitely start with the opener to watch those two go at it.
If you want to see Shibata and Hanma go back, just go back to that Kazuna Road show.
Yeah, go back to the Kazuna Road and check out the Never Open title match too. Yeah, if you haven't already seen that.
That was a freaking awesome match. But I'm sorry, I'm backtracking because we've already talked about that, so let's move on.
Yeah, we had next match was Juice Robinson and Satoshi Kojima taking on Katsuhika Nakajima and Toru Yano. And it was funny in this to see Juice Robinson just mocking Toru Yano, doing the RVD thumbs, and he mocked Yano's shrug after decking Yano with a punch. And I know that probably pissed Abby off to no end because she just loves Toru Yano, but it was funny to see somebody else mocking Toru Yano for a change, because Yano is usually the clown prince, and to see Juice Robinson, who's a decent worker in his own right, just kind of come in there and play up some of the comedy stuff. It shows another side that Juice Robinson is able to put on a show as a wrestler, as not only a worker, but also as a comedy worker if he wants to as well.
He does seem to be finding his niche in New Japan. He's slowly getting into the groove there, but I couldn't help thinking, we have clever names for tag teams in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Even if they're not part of a stable, they get a combined name like Ten Cozy. And I was trying to think, Co's Juicy? What would the name be for that team?
Juice Jima? I don't know.
Something like that.
Juice Jima. Juice Jima seems to work. Or Jima Juice.
Oh, yeah, I like that even better, because that actually sounds like a product you'd find.
It sounds like something you would drink. Yeah, that sounds like an energy drink. Jima Juice.
Jima, yeah,
that was that clear malt beverage they sold in the 90s that no longer is around. Jima.
Oh,
that was Zima.
No, that's right.
But speaking of beverages that were no longer around that are back now, Ecto Cooler.
That's right. The Ghostbusters Slimer Edition Ecto Cooler is now in stores pretty much everywhere.
And I have to say, getting a little sidetracked, but hey, we need some filler here. I was watching a YouTube video, and I forget the name of the drink, but what they did was they took the new Ecto Cooler, and they mixed it with Dan Aykroyd's own brand of vodka that comes in a glass skull, and I thought that was pretty badass.
Ooh, you know what? I do like the sound of that. If I was going to have a Ghostbusters party with my friends Judy and John, that's what I would serve them, because they are Ghostbusters fanatics. In fact, they have a script signed by all of the actors from the original cast.
Of the 1984 Ghostbusters, that is.
Yes. The script from the original movie.
Not of the debacle that has come out recently, but...
not Ghostbusters 2, not the updated version, not anything that's... we're talking the cult classic original.
Pixels Busters.
I'm still not going to be too harsh on it, because I haven't seen the new Ghostbusters yet. I know it's convenient and popular to crap on it, but until I see it for myself, I'm going to reserve judgment.
I haven't seen it either, and with Kick-Ass Torrents getting shut down by the feds, it might be difficult for me to see it for a while. I'll have to check out some alternate sites there, but yeah, I was deeply saddened by the closing of Kick-Ass Torrents.
Oh, you had to know that was going to happen. Are you really surprised?
Yeah, I kind of, especially because how is it the Fed's jurisdiction to go after a Ukrainian national in Poland for a crime allegedly committed here against who? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't feign shock at it, because every other site that's ever hosted anything has been attacked and crashed or sued out of existence. So, I mean, this was bound to be another case of torrent going under, because if you make a public torrent site, this is the response you get, and it was the biggest and most public.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see if the Pirate Bay is still a feasible option and alternative now. Oh, well, piracy, kids! Go out there and pirate everything you can.
It's still feasible.
We're on the Kev, sorry, I'll go first, and then you can go. But I basically am given to understand you don't want to trust the Pirate Bay anymore because the feds are snooping it.
Okay.
No, that's old news. I mean, the feds are snooping it as much as the feds can snoop anything, but Pirate Bay is still up and running. It's not compromised. It bounced back just fine, and you're never going to shut that down until they decide they're absolutely done with it.
Or they send somebody in there like like a Navy SEAL to just go in there and destroy the server.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the hosting company is gonna be a little upset about that. It's not like we're hunting down Osama bin Laden here. He's not hiding out in the IT cave. But
How did we get on this topic? Oh, Ghostbusters. That's
yeah,
right.
I was gonna say Ghostbusters. From what I have heard from my friends, totally kick-ass movie.
See, I like the people that are in it, and I've made that point before on this show and others, that if it were just about the individual actresses that were in the movie, if they were in any movie, I'd want to see them in that movie. So I just think people are overreacting to the fact that they decided to redo Ghostbusters. If they had called it, the all-new Ghostbusters, then maybe people wouldn't have a problem with it, but they're just reacting to the fact that they named it the same name as the original movie, so they think it's sacrilege.
Yeah.
Yeah, name it Phantom Catchers or something, or, at least acknowledge that the old Ghostbusters universe existed, but, don't make callbacks to it while denying that it ever existed. It's just...
Well, nonetheless, even if it was, you do think it's a shitty movie, the bottom line here is that Sony executives have already come out and said they are so satisfied with it, they have already greenlit a sequel, and they expect that the Ghostbusters franchise is going to be a cornerstone franchise for Sony Pictures for years to come. So, if you don't like it, too bad. Get ready for more of it. It's like Transformers.
Well, I encourage everybody to go out there and see it, but by all means, pirate it. Don't give Sony a dime of your money.
I'm going to just opt on the side of legality here and say go to a matinee when it's only $3 or $5.
Just wait. Just wait for Black Friday when it comes out on Blu-ray for $5 in the Walmart dump bin, and you'll be fine.
Dump bin seems appropriate.
Well, we won't find the next match in the dump bin, so let's go back to the G1.
No, we won't. And this one kind of had me laughing too. We had the Chaos team of Gato and Yoshihashi, good old tacos there, taking on the Bullet Club team of R. Sleaze, Yujiro Takahashi, and the cleaner, Kenny Omega. And I love this match because Omega grabbed Gato by his beard and tried to rip it right off of his face.
Yes, and I was marking out about the beard when I was watching it the day after you and Abby watched it. And I'm like, holy shit, he's got a Briscoes level beard now.
He does. I mean, yeah, like I said, he could be the next member of the Wyatt clan.
Wyatts or the Briscoes. He'd fit in right away with either one.
Gato Wyatt, yeah. Gato Briscoe, that even rhymes.
Yeah, actually it does. Yeah, okay, we're inventing another team right here on the fly.
They could be that could be your new 6-man team.
Yeah, challenge for the never openweight 6-man titles. Why not?
But yeah, it was cool to see him get his beard nearly ripped off, and your typical Kenny Omega shenanigans with choking Gato at ringside with a broom.
Mm-hmm. Got to play up that whole cleaner thing.
Yeah, he likes playing up that cleaner gimmick, and there was that really sick dragon suplex that Omega hits on Yoshihashi out of nowhere. It was just like, he like crumpled him and folded him in half with that dragon suplex. It was like, ow.
Yeah, I think I popped pretty big for that one when I was chatting with you guys. I was like, holy shit, he killed him.
Holy shit, yeah, that dragon suplex was cool. And then Takahashi did this move that was kind of like a Dominator, but with like an extra flip into it to pin Gato. I haven't seen him do that, and it wasn't Miami Shine, and I have no idea what he calls it, but it starts off like a Dominator, but the guy does like an extra flip on the way down, and it looked pretty badass.
Yeah, no question. If you find a GIF for this, if Lariato put one up, go and watch it, because it's amazing.
Yeah, Lariato or Hokay, Jokay 19 on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Check him out. He gives Lucha Libre stuff too, which is sweet. And yeah, Senor Lariato, of course, is just a mainstay of ProRes if you want to see GIFs. Those are the two that I turn to. But what I was very pleased to see on this was how high up the card David Finlay was. We had him in the match right before the G1 Climax A-Block matches. The final multi-man tag match, we had a 6-man match with David Finlay, Michael Elgin, and Yuji Nagata on one team taking on Bushi, Evil, and Tetsuya Naito, Los Ingobernables de Japón.
I have a whole lot to say about this, so let me go ahead and jump in. First of all, I love the robe that Elgin's wearing now, which is the clasps come together like lift like arm weights that you would pump your biceps and get really bulky with. So I thought that was a cool outfit for him. And of course, you could still see through the robe that was clasped together that he had the belt on around his waist, which, hey, that's another thing I give one thumbs up to is anytime a wrestler that wins a championship actually wears it to the ring instead of slinging it over their shoulders. So,
and not only did he have one belt on, he had two belts on.
Yes, I was going to let you get to that, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, what's the one? Is the one an Evolve title, or what's so they're both white leather belts. One is the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. What is the other belt that he holds?
I thought you would know that for sure because I was trying to figure it out, and I was watching it on a small screen, so I don't really know.
Let me take a look at Michael Elgin's Wikipedia page and see if it lists what championships that he holds, because, yeah, they were both white belts, and I thought one might have been an old belt. Yeah, it's not saying. I'm not able to see it. I'm not sure what the other one was, but he had two white belts on, and it looked bad. They were stacked one on top of the other.
Yeah, somebody will correct us. I'm sure somebody will let us know what the other one was. But anyway, yes, super awesome entrance on his part. And, of course, I'm always a mark for Blue Justice, Yuji Nagata, so I was very happy to see him. And David Finlay, I know he's still the young boy, but, man, those black trunks, those plain black trunks just make him stand out like a sore thumb. It's like you got a legend of New Japan Pro Wrestling, you got a current champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then you got the guy in black trunks. It's like, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. But then, Los Ingobernables, they have the super awesome, shit-kicking, holy fuck, I love it entrance. Not only do they have the laser light show with Evil and his crushed velvet and his mascara and his laser fingers, but they come out and Naito and I believe Bushi was wearing it too, baseball jerseys. And I fucking love... I know. I want one of these things. I want the hat and the baseball jersey that Naito were wearing. They were awesome.
I want one of those jerseys too, and I'm not even a Los Ingobernables de Japan fan, but I would rock one of those jerseys. They were black button-up baseball jerseys with like white print and logos on them, and they were tight. They look pretty sweet.
Yeah, I almost, in the middle of watching the show, I almost went to Pro Wrestling Tees to see if they had it in their New Japan shop.
Now, if I could get one of those customized with Bokai printed on the back, oh, hell yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotta throw in a Star Trek reference here for those who didn't catch it.
Yes, indeed. But let's go ahead and talk about the match itself.
Let's talk about the match itself with 105-year-old Yuji Nagata, who can still go, and he hit a nice exploder on Naito, who kicks out, and Nagata himself kicked out after a tornado DDT by Naito. We had Elgin doing what Elgin does best, suplexing two people at once, and he did that to Evil and Naito, just threw one over his head, and the other was kind of on his back and just kind of landed over his head. And yeah, that's always a fun spot to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to see Finlay kick out of one codebreaker from Bushi, only to take one from the top turnbuckle and get pinned. And kind of going into this, you knew he was going to be the one eating the pin, but it's still good to see David Finlay this high up on the card. And I think that, it's probably his time will probably come soon where they send him on his excursion and he'll go somewhere and come back, and then he won't have those black trunks anymore. And like when I was watching CMLL, I think it was Tuesday night opposite the draft. I went on Raijin and Fujin, who's Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu came on, and they have this wild color trunks and pants gimmick down there in Mexico. So hopefully something similar can happen with David Finlay, and he can come back and not be a member of the Black Trunk Brigade.
I agree, but I also like the fallout after this match with Elgin and Nagata being frustrated and despondent and trying to just get their spirits back up after taking this loss because Finlay got pinned, and Los Ingobernables just rubbing it in their faces with Naito doing a baseball slide to the ropes and laying there like, see, we got you.
Doing his little Naito thing where he just kind of reclines and does his little monocle pose as he looks up to the ceiling.
Is there any doubt why I mark out for these guys? Because they are true villains. They revel in their villainy. It's so great to see.
It's like, and you're coming in at the right time too, where where they're finally organically over. Naito, who started the stable out, is finally organically over as a heel and accepted as a heel. It's like you missed those painful first 3 or 4 months where it was just being so forced and contrived, but now he's really into the gimmick and the fans are really into the gimmick and it's working for him.
And it just makes it all the more frustrating to me that they took the title off him. Now at the point where he's really peaking, he should have the title.
Yeah, I can see that argument, but it's the Rainmaker, it's Okada.
Yeah, I know. What are you gonna do? He's as people say to me when I post on the New Japan videos on YouTube, there's A guys and there's B guys and there's A1 guys, and Okada is the A1 guy. You can't deny that. He is ace.
Yeah, especially after Nakamura left and with all the injuries and kind of the step back that Tanahashi's kind of taken recently. And it's just, there's one guy atop the card that shines brighter than the others, and right now that is Kazuchika Okada.
Yes, indeed. But we had our intermission, and then we had the
break.
And you know, there was a little thing in the intermission that I will mention. They did a commentary panel, and obviously this is all in Japanese, so I can't necessarily understand what they're saying. But even without understanding what they're saying, it still came across better than a WWE pre-show, because they had a group of 4 all sitting there and discussing one match at a time, going through the entire block, and you could hear Shinpei Nogami just reacting to the commentary of everybody who's like,
You love it. You love it when Nogami loses his shit.
Yeah, but it was just cool just listening to him react to people break down the analysis of the match and go, hi,
yeah, you hear this, hi, hi, hi.
And every once in a while they just throw in a, hey, like, really,
kind of like a little grunt there, yeah, but... Yeah, that's exactly why, when I had been watching WWE, I would watch the Spanish language broadcast, because I'm used to watching Nogami and Milano and, foreign language broadcasts where people get really animated and really, really flustered and really get into the match and call it with passion and fire, and you just don't get that from the English language commentators in WWE, but you do from the Spanish guys.
Yes, indeed. And if you talk about excitement and passion, there are a few that can top Nogami in that category.
No, yeah. When Nogami loses shit, Lariato! Brain the Buster! Count to 3! Alrighty, we'll get on to the A block matches that we had for the G1 Climax.
Mm-hmm.
Starting off,
start Block A.
Block A started off with the longtime veteran in his last G1 Climax ever, Hiroshi Tenzan taking on Tomohiro Ishii, and this was one of my favorite matches of the night.
And I love the mullet of Tenzan. I'm a full convert now, and especially knowing this may be his last G1 ever, I have to cheer just for the mullet now whenever I see him.
This is like this, yeah, if you don't know who Hiroshi Tenzan is, this is something that's kind of between a mohawk and a mullet. It's way too fat to be a mohawk, but he's got both sides of it dyed blonde, shaved on both sides, and long in the back.
Yes, it is only he can pull off this look. Nobody else should try it. Nobody else should do it, but I fully support Tenzan doing this.
And you've got 2 guys in Tenzan and Ishii that can just go from the opening bell, work a good strong style match, no-sell each other's offense, and they did not fail to do that.
This reminded me of something I wanted to say about this match. One of the things that I really like about Tomohiro Ishii, and this is going to sound like it's not a compliment, but I mean it in the most complimentary way when I say this. He is an ugly bastard. Pro wrestling needs guys like this who are just big and ugly and will hit you like a ton of bricks.
I think he acknowledges this by calling himself the Stone Pitbull.
Yeah, the name still sounds tough and menacing, so it doesn't necessarily imply ugliness, but he works ugly, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is, and yeah, they both no-sold brainbusters early on, and one of my favorite spots was when Ishii no-sold Tenzan's signature move of the Mountain Bomb, gets straight up, and then lariats and chops Tenzan down to the mat, saying, get that shit out of here. You're gonna Mountain Bomb me, motherfucker, let me show you how it's done.
Now, am I remembering it wrong, or were there a couple of really nasty-looking headbutts in this match?
Oh yeah, there was They were kind of a trading of headbutts. And at one point, Ishii got the better of Tenzan, but then Tenzan kind of hulked up, and Ishii headbutted him, and it ended up hurting Ishii. But then afterwards, I think they both legit sold their heads after that. They rammed their heads together over and over and over again.
It's one of those things where if they're legitly colliding as hard as they make it look, I would be seriously concerned about the brain damage. But I won't say I didn't pop for it. It was fun.
It was fun to watch that, and we had Ishii kicking out of an Anaconda Vice slam, which I didn't see coming, because usually when Tenzan hits that, it is over. He could tap somebody out with an Anaconda Vice, or he does that Anaconda Vice slam, and that's usually the end of the match. But no, Ishii kicked out. Tenzan ended up winning in impressive fashion with a move he pulls out once in a blue moon, that being a moonsault from the top turnbuckle. So we don't see Tenzan doing that very often, but he did it in this match, and it was enough to put away Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes, it was, and a very fun match, and a very good way to kick off Block A.
I was going to say, yeah, they picked a barn burner. They picked the right guys to start off the G1 Climax, because that really got me into the tournament. That really got me hyped. That was like, yeah, I'm glad I woke up at stupid o'clock to watch this. I sat through the opening matches and they were kind of but this is what it's all about. This is the G1 Climax that's starting off, and that was one badass match.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Second match we had was Togi Makabe taking on Tama Tonga, and yeah, this was nowhere near as good as the first match.
I think I might have drifted off or lost my attention and focus during this one.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think of polite things that I can say about this match. It wasn't very good. I'm hoping we'll see better out of Tama Tonga in future matches. I don't think it was his fault. I don't think you can get a good match out of Togi Makabe, but it was
well,
nice.
If you can, this wasn't it.
This was not it. No, granted, it's hard to follow up Tenzan and Ishii, but it just felt like these two were mailing it in.
Yeah.
The ending was kind of impressive with Makabe hitting a belly-to-belly spider suplex, but my God, they were up on the top turnbuckle for what seemed like an eternity battling before he finally got him off there, hit the belly-to-belly spider suplex, and finished him off with the King Kong knee drop. It wasn't a pretty match. It wasn't an entertaining match. It wasn't, even that hard-hitting of a no-sell strong style match, because that's not Tama Tonga's forte, but it was a match. It was there. Makabe won. That's about all the good things I can say about it.
Yep, Makabe got his point. So, hey, sometimes you just need matches for somebody to get a point.
And that was it. Yeah, he picked up a point, and Tama Tonga had those weird tutti fruity looking boxer brief long john trunks. Those were not pretty.
No.
those were some. It's like, yeah, that's not the way you do camouflage.
No, it's not. Not one of the outfits I would want to get off of the New Japan Store at Pro Wrestling Tees. No.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like long johns, and the color scheme was just horrendous. I mean, we're talking almost Young Bucks pants horrendous.
But the Young Bucks, it actually works for them because they're supposed to be loud and obnoxious. So when they wear stuff like that, it kind of fits.
Tama Tonga, not so much. His face paint was pretty sweet, but his trunks, hopefully he gets better trunks for his next match.
Indeed.
Moving on, we had Hiroki Goto taking on Bad Luck Fale, and this was another really boring fucking match. And this, again, felt like the two guys were going through the motions and mailing it in.
I thought it was better than the last one, though.
It was better than the last one, but the two performers in there were better than the last two, too. It's like I expect more from Goto, I expect more from Fale than I do from... I mean, like I said, you can't get a good match out of Togi Makabe, but I expect more from Tama Tonga.
I agree with you there.
But yeah, the one thing that was interesting to know about this match is as he's entering the ring, and right as he's being announced, Bad Luck Fale shoves the ring announcer to the mat. Great heel tactic there.
Of course.
Bad Luck Fale being Bad Luck Fale, and Gato kicked out of the Samoan Spike, and Gato ended up winning the match with the GTR, and it was just a really boring match that Gato won. I don't know what else to say about it.
Well, I I'm kind of waiting until we get to the upset here, so I won't say anything about it either because we got a huge upset coming up to talk about.
Yeah, we do. We got the next match. We have Hiroshi Tanahashi taking on Sonata, the odd man out, the only member of Los Ingobernables de Japón in Block A. And this match I did like. And this match, my God, we got to see Tanahashi do the five knuckle frog splash to the outside of the ring, which I didn't think he would do. Yeah. Oh my goodness, with his back and how he's been doing, I didn't think we would see that spot, especially early in the tournament.
Yeah, Appy can't hate that one. I know she doesn't like Tanahashi, but man, he put his all into that.
He did. It takes some guts to do that, more guts than brains perhaps, but yeah, I was not expecting it. It was like, my God, he's pulling that spot out. First match into the G1 climax. I hope his back doesn't give out on him, but kudos for doing it.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, he hits a high fly flow, the variety he does to the outside, which is always with the opponent standing, more of a cross body than a frog splash, because he might kill himself if he had to do it onto a prone opponent on the outside.
Well, he might kill himself anyway if he keeps wrestling like this.
He might, yeah. I mean, he kicked out of a TKO. He got put in the skull end, Tanahashi did, and he had to fight some more until he finally gets his feet to the ropes and breaks the hold. And we had Sonata kicking out of my only problem with this match was I was calling the spots as they were happening. I'm like, okay, we haven't seen the sling blade yet. Sure enough, Tanahashi hits the sling blade. Sonata kicks out at 2.5. And I'm like, okay, we haven't seen the dragon screw leg whip, and sure enough, he catches Sonata coming back into the ring, dragon screw leg whip, and it's just like, okay, it's like Tanahashi does kind of have his 5 moves of doom, but he is entertaining to watch. Mm-hmm. And he hit a really beautiful textbook German suplex pin on Sonata that Sonata just barely kicked out of. It was like, whoa.
That was when I started smelling upset. After he kicked out of the German suplex, I was like, wait a minute, are they actually going to give Sonata the win over Tanahashi here? I started to believe in it at that point.
They did, but then you had that sequence where Tanahashi was going for the high fly flow and Sonata catches him in the cutter. He gets pinned. Tanahashi kicks out at 2.5. Sonata hits a moonsault from the top turnbuckle, and Tanahashi kicks out again. And it's like, oh my God, they're building this up like an actual New Japan main event. And I was like, you know what? This could go either way. And as Stevie said, this was the big upset, as Sonata was able to choke out Tanahashi with the skull end and pick up a point, and Tanahashi gets a big fat goose egg.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect Tanahashi to go 0 in the very first round in the very first night, but that's what happened.
That's what happened. I mean, yeah, I guess they want to build Sonata up more than they want to keep Tanahashi's image up. But, I mean, I don't think the loss hurts Tanahashi in the fans' eyes at all, where I think it elevates Sonata in the fans' eyes as a credible threat to go far in the block, if not, challenge for the block.
So let me ask you the question that's been burning in my mind ever since I saw this. Do you think that this elevation will carry through the rest of the G1 climax and his old feuds will now be buried in past and he'll be in the upper card? Or do you think that in the end he'll go 1-4 and this will just be the big one?
Oh, I hope he doesn't go 1-4. New Japan has been known to do that. And yeah, they did that I think last year with Anderson, I think, who had 1 win throughout the whole tournament, and or not Anderson, it was Gallows. Anderson almost won his block last year. It was Gallows. It was 2 points with 1 win and the rest losses. But I hope so. I mean, I would like to see Sonata, even if he finishes, say, 3rd in the block behind the guys who are in the main event next, or behind Okada and, say, Tanahashi. As long as he finishes among the elite wrestlers in the group, I think it elevates him and allows you to use him in the top tier matches, in your main event feuds, in your title hunts coming up.
So
he doesn't have to win the block outright. He doesn't have to win the G1 outright. But as long as the guys ahead of him are named Tanahashi or Okada or Marufuji, I think he's in good company.
And that's what I was just thinking too, is if he can somehow end up in that top 5 or top 6 in New Japan coming out of this, that would be freaking awesome to see them elevate him that way.
Yeah, and it's the right time to do it too. I mean, he's hot. He's got a great look. He comes out with this metal mask on and this leather jacket, almost reminiscent of Stone Cold. the way that it looks, and he carries a baseball bat, and yeah, I mean, he just looks like a straight up punk from like a 1980s beat 'em up video game from like Bad Dudes or Streets of Rage or Final Fight. You know, he looks like one of the bad guys from Final Fight.
Yeah, the president has been kidnapped, and Sonata is the one who kidnapped him.
Winners don't use drugs.
Yes, indeed. But we do have one more match in Blockade to talk about.
Yeah, we do. Kind of a letdown after, you know, matches like Tanahashi and Sonata and like the opener with Ishii and Tenzan. But our final match was Kazuchika Okada versus Naomichi Marufuji. And it was a match. It was a decent match. It wasn't a bad match.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
It wasn't, you know, it wasn't Tamatonga versus Togi Makabe bad. It wasn't boring as hell like Gato and Bad Luck Fale. There were matches on the card that were hard to live up to, and this was kind of a hard. They had a hard match to follow in Tanahashi versus Sonata.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's like they got put in a death spot here because having to come after a huge upset and such a monumental win for Sonata, it was going to be a letdown no matter what.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, like I said, that was there, and then of course your opening match was just phenomenal. But I did like the way that Marufuji was just relentless in working over Okada's arm in this match. Like, he really targeted the arm of Okada to take away the Rainmaker Lariat. At one point of the match, they were outside, and Marufuji used the guardrail to work Okada's arm over and slammed his arm in the gate. And he took Okada's arm to task. He really picked a part of the body to work on, and he worked that arm over like a master psychologist in the ring there.
Yes, classic wrestling psychology, which you don't see too much of in most other promotions these days. But in New Japan, they actually do work body parts and try to weaken a man so they can hit a move with it later. It's one of the things I really appreciate.
I guess they do that in Pro Wrestling Noah too, where Marufuji earns his bread and butter, so to speak, but the psychology would come into play because he worked Okada's arm and his hand over, and in doing so, Marufuji was able to block 2 attempts that Okada made at trying to hit that Rainmaker. And it really worked in with that psychology that because Marufuji had been working and damaging Okada's arm, that it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that, oh yeah, you know, he can block the Rainmaker because Okada's arm is so weak. And I mean, there's sometimes in New Japan matches where you'll see a guy who's going for a lariat get his arm lariated by the other guy and it kind of looks stupid. But this actually makes sense in terms of psychology.
And, you know, I don't want to say he's cribbing notes or anything, but I've seen Tanahashi do the exact same thing to Okada in some of their matches where he works over the arm so he can avoid the Rainmaker too. So if you're going to steal from somebody, you might as well steal it from Tanahashi because it's worked for him in the past.
You might as well. And yeah, I would. It's just Marufuji just has so much more in his arsenal than Tanahashi does. It's just Marufuji there's just so much this guy can hit you with, and he's kind of the polar opposite of having 5 moves of doom. I mean, he's got, 500,000 moves of doom. He's like, Chris Jericho, the man of 1,004 holds.
Yeah, I knew you were going there. I could spell it before you even said it.
And only one of them is an armbar. He's got legitimate 1,000. This guy's like the great Checkmate, who was Kabuki's partner back in the day. Man of 1,000 counter moves. But yeah, Marufuji ended up upsetting Okada with a variant of Emerald Fusion in this match, kind of a throwback to Mitsuharu Misawa and the kind of Noah heritage and lineage, and it was interesting to watch that as a finisher from Marufuji.
I'm not going to call it an upset as Sonata getting his win in the match previous, because I think coming out of the gate, he really had to get Marufuji over in his first match in the G1 Climax, so I'm not surprised by this.
Yeah, it wasn't as big an upset, like you said, as Sonata was. Another thing you have to look at in the tournament is Kazuchika Okada is one giant wild card in this whole tournament, and that is because he is holding the IWGP title. I mean, he's got that title. There's nothing he gains by winning this tournament. I mean, he could go winless in the tournament, and he's still got the IWGP title, and he's still taking that into Wrestle Kingdom.
Right. That's one of the things with New Japan and these G1 Climax tournaments is the champions will actually take part in it, and it doesn't hurt their prestige because even though theoretically you're setting up a challenger with the winner between Block A and Block B, it doesn't necessarily hurt that you're getting in there and getting to scout out your opponent, and that's kind of the way they sell it. It's like, I'm going to face one of these guys later on, so I might as well be in this tournament because if I win, then I eliminate the competition, and if I don't win, at least I know what I'm facing down the road.
And I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate for you here, Stevie. I'll take your side here for a minute. You know, had Tetsuya Naito gone into the G1 Climax as the champion with the IWGP title, that's one situation where I could see it making sense to book the champion, especially a heel champion, one who just got the belt, to win the tournament outright. Because that is just instant credibility and instant badass. But a guy like Okada does not need to win a single match in this tournament to stay over with the crowd or to stay believable as IWGP champion.
But we both know he's not going winless. That's not happening.
No, he's not going winless, but he is, like I said, he is a wild card. He could finish atop the block or he could finish, 3 or 4 places down.
Yeah. And how whatever it turns out to be, like you already said, he'll still be over no matter what.
He will be over, and yeah, like I said, he is just one giant wild card. You don't know how he figures in being the champion. I mean, heck, you don't know how a guy like Tenzan in his last G1 Climax figures in with this either.
Yeah, I don't expect he'll win, but if he went scoreless, I'd be really shocked.
Well, he can't. He already got a victory.
Yeah, but sorry. You know what I was trying to say.
Yeah, if he loses outright from here on out, yeah, that would be pretty surprising.
Right, that's what I meant.
If they buried him. Yeah, I know you didn't see the Super J Cup, but there's just one thing that I want to hit on with the Super J Cup before we move on to anything else.
Yeah, well, the floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Alrighty. The first match we had Matt Sydal taking on a guy named Kaji Tomato. And now if there was ever a partner to tag Cheeseburger with, it is Kaji Tomato. This guy came to the ring kind of dressed like a tomato with like a plush stuffed tomato, like a stuffed animal, but not an animal, a stuffed tomato. And after the match that he lost to Sydal, he offered this stuffed tomato to Sydal as a sign of respect, and Sydal took it. But yeah, can you imagine a team of Tomato and Cheeseburger?
I can, and I would love it.
I mean, yeah, that was definitely that. It was kind of went the same way the G1 Climax did. That Matt Sydal and Kaiji Tomato match that kicked off the show was amazing. It was wonderful. And the matches after that were kind of like, eh. It's like if I never see Tai Chi again, I really don't care.
So what you're saying is I don't need to go out of my way to watch the Super J Cup then.
You definitely want to watch Matt Sydal versus Kaji Tomato. That match is definitely worth watching. Kano versus Guru-kun Mask isn't bad, and Guru-kun Mask with this whole fish gimmick was just bizarre. And you can check that one out. You can after Tai Chi's ballet does her little striptease dance in front of Milano, and Milano whips out his cell phone camera to take a picture. You can pretty much fast forward through the Tai Chi match because Tai Chi is boring as fuck. And yeah, I mean, this was just basically the show where El Desperado, because he wasn't invited to the tournament, gets involved in all of Suzuki-gun's matches and interferes. And I would much rather have El Desperado than Tai Chi in there. Unfortunately, we're stuck with Tai Chi.
That's a shame.
We had Aita versus Jushin Liger. I was surprised Liger went over. I thought they'd build Aita up a bit more than they did. It was a decent match, but the finish kind of surprised everybody on Twitter. We had Will Ospreay versus Teton from Mexico. It was a good match. It was a decent match.
Yeah, that would be one that I would take the time to go out of my way to see.
Yeah, that one you might want to watch. You get to see Ospreay hit that Sasuke special dive out of the ring. Teton hit a really sick acai moonsault off of the top rope from the ring apron. He jumped up to the top rope and did an acai moonsault off of the top rope, which was pretty sick. Yeah, that match is worth checking out. We had Bushi eliminated in the first round, which was really surprising, by Kanemaru, the Suzuki-gun, one of the Suzuki-gun light heavyweights. And then we had Taguchi. We had Taguchi going over Daisuke Harada with Dodon's Throne, which I hadn't seen before, which is kind of interesting, but, Taguchi didn't come out with like a bird on his head or a recorder, so I was a bit disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the main event saw Kushida take on the only person in the entire world that is shorter than Chris Jericho in Taiji Ishimori. And yeah, I don't know what it is with Ishimori. I just hate how he looks. He just does not look proportional. He's just way too short. But yeah, Kushida ends up tapping him out with the hoverboard lock. So a lot of the New Japan guys go over, but I'm surprised that the one that didn't was Bushi. I would have thought, I would have thought of all the New Japan guys to put over, you would definitely want to put Bushi over. I thought, Liger's the one guy. He's been in this before. I thought they put Aita over a little bit more, but definitely the highlight was definitely Tomato.
All right.
Tomato and whatever that fish guy's name was, Guru Kun Mask.
Okay. Well, then I've got some things to look forward to there.
Yeah, watch Fish Face and Tomato.
Will do. But you know what? I think it's time for us to move on from New Japan to Jordan's Corner. So let's give Jordan J. Garber a call and see what he's up to.
All right.
Hello from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Jordan Garber is here on Thursday Night AMP. How are you guys doing, and how is the world doing?
We're doing good, Jordan. What's on your mind this week for Jordan's Corner?
Oh, not much, guys. I feel so much better to, be coming onto the show in a positive mindset, weeks before. And I'm still going through some struggles with things, but last week on the show, I just felt like I was in a very negative mindset in general. And I don't know if you guys seen what I posted on social media lately, those positive posts, but definitely all those positive posts do mean something. I had something happen last week, and that definitely changed my life. And it's so good to be looking at the world in a positive way, even if it's hard to. But everything's getting better by the day. So Jordan Garber's in a good mood. He has a 3-day weekend, big show coming up on Saturday. So yeah, the world for Jordan Garber is getting better, definitely, and it's great to continue that get well betterness on Thursday Night AMP.
All right, we're happy to hear you're doing better and feeling better. And what's the big show on Saturday? Tell us all about it.
This Saturday, Primo's Wrestling Canada presents the Slave to the Cage match. Now, I'll tell you this, Jordan Garber will be on this event, but if you guys are in the Winnipeg area, check out the show, see me, and see a bunch of other great local wrestlers live. It's at Churchill Park United Church, 525 Bursford Avenue, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. It's going to be great. You know what? Definitely, you're going to see a lot on Facebook and on social media of what is going on with that show. And all I got to say is stay tuned. It's going to be great.
All right. Tell us some of the featured matches. Take us through like the top of the card for the show besides the Slave to the Cage match.
Well, I'm on the event page right now. I'm trying to find all the match announcements. I can only find one for some reason. The promoter only posted one. I do have the first match announcement. It's pretty much like a Slave to the Cage match tournament, I believe. It's like a tag team tournament. I can name some of the wrestlers that would be involved if that would be cool for you guys.
Yeah, just go ahead and do that.
We got Rob Stardom, who's Winnipeg. He's huge, big Manitoba wrestling veteran. He started wrestling in the 1990s. This guy's recently wrestled in Japan. He's gone to Mexico to wrestle, and he's on the card. He definitely has a lot of experience. He's actually one of the first guys responsible for me being involved in the business at such a very young age as a kid. We have Rob Mass, who's going to be on the show. He's a strongman builder. It's great to have him on the show. Addition, Mark Merrick, who is the promoter of Primo's Wrestling Canada. We have Zach Mercury, and we have Shadow Extreme, and you have Mike Mission, you have Jeremy Joseph, and of course, you guys have Jordan J. Garber. So definitely, it's a packed lineup here. Slave to the Cage match tournament. Who will be the last man standing? That is the question, and it will be answered this Saturday, July the 23rd. At Churchill Park United Church. Be there and find out what happens.
Yes, indeed. Be there or be square. So, Jordan, before I let you go tonight, what are your thoughts on the WWE Battleground triple threat between the champion Dean Ambrose, the returning Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins?
You know what? Hopefully we don't see Roman Reigns winning the belt again. Where did he get drafted to, by the way? I caught some of the results, but I didn't remember what happened with Roman. Did he get drafted anywhere? Or he's off. I know he's suspended, but did he get drafted anywhere?
Yeah, he got drafted to Raw.
Oh, okay. So now people might be watching SmackDown more than Raw because a lot of people are tired of Roman Reigns, and now that he's on Raw.
I doubt that highly with SmackDown's roster.
Yeah, you might want to check out the draft show that they did a couple days ago. It's
Styles and Cena, and if Cena could still, I know he's part-time now, but if he could still provide a lot of good times for SmackDown. Remember, he started out in SmackDown, so definitely. What was I saying again? I was talking about the triple threat match. Yeah, It's a great matchup. I don't care who wins as long as Roman Reigns doesn't win. To be quite honest with you guys, We've been there, done that. We've seen it
because you want it to be Seth or Dean, so you do care.
Yeah, anyone but him. I just don't want. I've already seen him win the title, and guess what? The reign wasn't very exciting at all. So
the reign of Roman was not thrilling to you.
Well, every time I've seen Roman Reigns win, like every time I see him on Raw, I just switch it to Three's Company. So yeah, it's just if we see Roman Reigns win the title. There's definitely going to be it's going to be more time to watch Grey's Anatomy and Three's Company. So
yeah, you can take a step that is new.
Definitely. And coming up, sorry to just do a cheap plug here. Coming soon on Jordan Garber now on VOC Nation, former WWE star, Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champion, Tag Team Champion, you name it. None other than Santino Marella will be the next guest. So it's going to be it's really cool.
Poppy for that. Santino's one of my favorite wrestlers, so I am super impressed.
Well, we've been talking we've been texting, and we totally been in negotiations of what's been going on. I've definitely gotten more than 2 or 3 sure's from him, and he did confirm a time tonight. So that there will be a taping of that tonight. If he's able to, I know he's a busy man, so eventually though we will get the ball rolling with the Santino Marella interview, and it will be up. So that's why I'm saying coming soon. That's why I'm not giving a specific date, but it could be next week, it could be the week after. But all I know is that Santino Marella has agreed to terms with an interview, and he's going to be talking about his WWE career, talking about the titles he's won, talking about kind of what it was like backstage and everything, and just pretty much the questions that everyone wants to hear. I will be asking them, and he will be answering them, and I honestly do hope that it does get a big reach.
Oh, it will. I'm sure it will, because I'll certainly plug it. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and plug something of his right now, Battle Arts Academy. You want to go in there and learn some pro wrestling and some martial arts style, then go to Battle Arts, because Santino Marella is the place to learn.
Yeah, he's done so well in WWE. It's so unfortunate how he got injured, but he has Battle Arts. We're going to be talking about that as well. So definitely just tune in. Stay posted on my Twitter at Jordan J Garber. More interviews to come. I'm still debating whether if I should be going to Michigan and Wisconsin once again. Not this weekend because there's a show in Winnipeg, but the following weekend. So I will keep you guys posted on that as well. Pretty much, Jordan, it's kind of like the Jordan J. Garber World Tour, or the U.S. Tour, one of those things. Too bad there's not much wrestling in Omaha. I would love to go down there.
No, there's plenty of wrestling. In fact, as we speak, there's a show going on tonight that I couldn't make it to, but at that very show, speaking of former WWE superstars, at the show that I couldn't make it to tonight is the one and only You're Welcome, Damian Sandow.
Oh my! I never see anything of that on Facebook, and I literally have wrestlers from like all over the U.S., like the U.S. scene, the Mexico coast.
Let me tip you off then. Follow Magnum Pro Wrestling on Facebook and follow Pro Wrestling Phoenix on Facebook. We got 2 solid indie wrestling organizations here.
I thought that Pro Wrestling Phoenix only ran in Iowa.
Well, technically, when you're right across the border from Omaha, it's in the Omaha area. I mean, you can run in Council Bluffs, but that's just across the river. That's 10 minutes away. It's the same as running a show here.
How are the Storm Chasers doing this year anyways?
Pretty good. I went to a game of theirs a few weeks ago for 4th of July weekend, and they won in extra innings 5-4. It was a fun game.
Sick stuff. Well, definitely. more stuff to be happening with Jordan Garber. And hey, you know what? Now that there's a lot of pro wrestling a good amount of pro wrestling in Nebraska, maybe that might be on the next stop for the self-acclaimed Jordan Garber tour. Who knows?
All right, well, you come on down here for your U.S. World Tour, and I'll treat you to a burger off the grill.
Sounds like a plan, guys. Thank you guys for having me on tonight. I can't wait to be on next week.
All right, Jordan, we'll see you next week. Take care till then.
Take care, guys.
Yep, bye. And since we're talking about WWE Battleground and the triple threat match in the main event when Jordan was on, I want to get your thoughts on it, Jason. What do you think's going to happen in this match? Who do you want to win?
Who do I want to win, or what do I think is going to happen in the triple threat match?
Both. Actually, answer both questions.
Okay, what I think is going to happen, I think that either Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns, I think one of the two guys on the Raw roster is going to win the match in a contested fashion, thereby having the WWE title go to Raw, and then the big gold belt gets brought out and given to Ambrose and goes to SmackDown. That is what I think is going to happen. What I would like to have happen is to have Dean Ambrose go over clean over both guys and take the WWE title with him proudly to SmackDown, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I'm going to have to concur with you here. What I would really like is for them to establish SmackDown as a competing brand, as a brand of champions, as a brand where their champion doesn't lose on his first night after being drafted of a major pay-per-view, like his first appearance as part of, like the captain of the SmackDown brand, and he goes down swinging in his very first appearance in that role. So I think it's going to happen, though, and I think the most likely outcome is, as you said, a contested finish. I see somehow, some clusterfucky way, Seth winds up pinning Roman so that Dean, with only the slimmest margin of credibility here, gets to say, well, I didn't get pinned, so I'm still the man around here on SmackDown. I may have lost the title, but I didn't get pinned for the title. And Seth will pin Roman, and that'll be that.
Yep, yeah, I have some other really way out there predictions for Battleground, too.
Yeah, let's go into them. What's your next one?
I think there is going to be a double switch with the lesser titles. I think the WWE Intercontinental Championship as well as the U.S. title are going to change hands and change brands. But I see both champions losing. I see Darren Young winning the IC title so he can take that over to Raw. And I do see Zack Ryder upsetting Rusev so that they can take the U.S. title to SmackDown. And then I see Rusev beating Darren Young for the Intercontinental strap at whatever the next paper. Maybe it's SummerSlam.
You know what? I'm going to agree with all of those. I think you're onto something.
It's kind of like they drafted people and didn't really think about the belt situation. And they're kind of left to sort that out here at Battleground and it's other pay-per-views, kind of going forward afterwards once the brands have split off. But yeah, that's what I see happening because I don't see the WWE title staying on SmackDown, and I certainly don't see the Intercontinental title staying on SmackDown. I think they want it to be the B show, so yeah, they're not going to have the titles that WWF and WWE built on the SmackDown show. It's going to get the old WCW titles like the US title and the big gold belt.
See, now that reminds me of something that I wanted to complain about, but I wasn't able to make it to the post-draft show, so I'll say it here for the record. Why are they putting the Cruiserweight division on Raw? SmackDown needs it way more than Raw does. SmackDown needs to establish itself as different and exciting and fun and something to tune into live every Tuesday night. So if you're going to bring in the Cruiserweights from the Cruiserweight Classic and put them on a show and possibly even have the winner of that show be the Cruiserweight champion on main WWE television, why would you put them on Raw where they're just going to get buried in a 3-hour pile of shit?
I agree. The only reason I can see is because Raw has an extra hour, but are they going to fill that entire extra hour with Cruiserweight matches? I don't think so. It's a situation where I almost would have rather them have a third, maybe even a fourth if you consider NXT a brand, but have a fourth Cruiserweight brand and have that either in the first hour or the last hour of Raw on Monday night. Maybe not even call it Raw or have it be, like an offshoot of Raw, but dedicate one of those hours to only the Cruiserweight division. That way you cut down Raw's time. If people want to watch Cruiserweights, they can. They can tune into Raw afterwards if they want to, or they can change the channel if they only want to watch the Cruiserweights. But yeah, I exactly see it going down the way that you're predicting, that these Cruiserweights are going to come into Raw. They're, even with a Cruiserweight title, they're going to get lost in the shuffle of what's probably going to be the Intercontinental Champion and as well as the WWE Champion feuds that are going on in those storylines. It's like they are going, as much as they want to build up this Cruiserweight division, they're going to end up burying it because that's just what WWE does. They have a track record of doing this, and I don't see it changing.
One more point I want to add to reinforce what we're already saying. You would want it on the show with the babyface COO and the babyface general manager, because they are going to present a babyface wrestling style of excitement and energy that is the kind of thing that Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan would be all about. Like, hey, we're here to deliver for the fans. We want the fans to have fun and a good time. So look, what we did for you just to bring you that excitement we promised, here are the Cruiserweights.
Yep.
It's just, their logic in this whole draft is sorely lacking. But I know you ranted at length about that, so I won't go into it again here. I promised you I would, because you already had a whole show about it.
I did, but there is one more bold prediction that I would like to make about Battleground as well.
Is it about the tag team match and Sasha Banks' mystery partner?
Yes.
I thought it might be, and I think it's going to be a hugger.
Yes, yeah, that's my bold prediction, is that your TBD is going to be Bayley.
Especially with Sasha Banks going out of her way to deny it and say that she doesn't want it and it's not going to happen. I think that's just going to make it even a more delicious irony to rub it in her face when Bayley comes out and gives her a big hug and she's like, "Oh, what, really? Okay."
Yeah, I don't mind them taking Bayley. Bayley's ready to go. The one that I really mind them drafting from NXT is Alexa Bliss. Who do you have now as a heel female in NXT to challenge Asuka for the title? You took Nia Jax, you took Alexa Bliss. You have
and
no
Carmella. They even drafted Carmella.
It's like, who is left? Who is left? I mean, you've got Bayley, but how many times can you do? And I think Bayley's coming up, but even if she's not the mystery partner, how many times can you do Asuka Bayley?
Yeah, I suppose that's about run its course, but I believe Kevin has a comment on this as well, so I'm going to defer to him.
Did you guys happen to see the Twitter exchange between Bayley and Nia Jax?
Nope.
I can't remember it. I probably saw it, but it doesn't pop to my mind.
Bayley tweeted out, "Goodbye, Nia Jax. Hello, Asuka." Nia Jax messages back and says, "That's okay. You can watch me on WWE Raw every week." "Oh, wait. You're not going to be there, are you?" And Bayley replies back, "No, I'm going to be here becoming the 2-time NXT Women's Champion, something you didn't even manage to do once."
Oh, sick burn.
Very, very nice.
Yes. She got one over on her there. Good job, Bayley.
Yeah, she got one over, but yeah, I don't see her sticking around NXT. I don't see what point there is to putting a title on her. She's kind of in the same boat that Finn Balor is, or was, since now he's been drafted, that he's done all he can do in NXT. She has done all she can do in NXT, and it is time for her to come up to the main roster. She's just going to kind of toil into obscurity in NXT, and it's time to bring her up.
Yeah, and I think even the crowd at NXT shows has realized that now. I think she isn't quite getting the pop that she used to because they've seen her do everything she can do. I think it's not that it's grown lukewarm or stale, but it's just like, yeah, okay, we're ready for you to move on.
Yeah, it's time for her to do it on a bigger stage, and on a bigger stage where she can incorporate more things and expand her character a bit more.
Exactly.
She's a big fish in a little pond, and it's time for her to go to the big pond so that little fish can grow even bigger.
Indeed, I totally agree with you. So, well, there's only a couple other matches I think I want to address here before we wrap it up. What are your thoughts on the 6-man with Cena, Enzo, and Cass versus the Club?
They love burying the Club, and I see the faces going over in this one. Unfortunately, I see the last match for AJ Styles and his buddy Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson ending in a defeat.
Well, since they broke up that group, you're probably right. But man, if they could just hashtag beat up John Cena one more time, I'd be really happy.
I've got a good replacement for hashtag beat up Cena once the club breaks up. The new hashtag can be Kane Dewey.
Sure, why not? Since Kane did get drafted, I suppose you can go there.
Kane did, and hey, with Foley as commissioner of Raw, Kane Dewey makes even more sense.
Yes, it does. But I will say, out of the few things that I saw of Raw this week, which wasn't that much, I did like Enzo Amore's promo building up this match when he said, Luke Gallows, there's beauty in the world, but we can't see it without ugly, so thank you for your service.
Oh, you were able to pay attention that long. I mean, God, the promos during that match on Raw seemed to go on for 7 fucking years. It's like by the time the match started, by the time the match ended, I'm like, there's still more Raw. That match alone with the promos felt like it was 3 hours long.
No, you don't understand. I didn't watch all of Raw. I watched selected highlights, and I chose Enzo Amore's promo as one of those highlights.
I was watching live with the Espanol commentary, and even with that, you know, Spanish commentary still is not going to make a long segment and long match seem short. And yeah, it just, my attention span was just gone after, you know, they were in the ring for what seemed like 12 hours, you know, trying to cut promos on each other. But I did see Amber Gallows tweet back at that, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, what did she say? What did the Bullet Babe have to say about this?
She said, I think he looks pretty handsome.
Of course, she's going to stand by her man.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, somebody else tweeted at her like, yeah, she was like, Amber liked it so much she put a ring on it, and then yeah, she tweeted back at it. So it's always fun to see Amber Gallows' reaction to stuff that goes on with the club on Raw.
I agree. I heart the Bullet Babe. But one other match that I wanted to ask you about before we wrap up was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens.
That's a good one. I don't know if they're going to give Sami his win, and it honestly doesn't matter with both of them going to Raw because I see this feud continuing. I see this feud. I see the two of them working the program together.
It just goes on and on, my friends. This is feud that never ends.
I mean, this is one where I almost want Kevin Owens to get another win just so Sami Zayn can continue to chase that elusive win. You know, it's like the more Owens wins, it's like the more Sami Zayn becomes determined and driven, and the more you kind of get behind him to get that win. And I don't think it hurts him to lose. I only think it makes you root for him that much more to get that win the next time. Because their matches never fail to entertain the crowd.
But there's the danger that there always exists in pro wrestling of if you hold off the win and you hold off the win and you hold off the win and you make fans want it, you can hold it off so long that they finally stop caring.
I would think that might be true if they weren't exclusively wrestling like against each other. If you had Owens going out and beating other people every week and Zayn going out against other people and losing consistently, I could see that. But the fact that they're taking on each other just kind of ups the stakes and ups the ante and kind of takes away from that wins matter thing. It's just kind of, these two are going at it, and, you know, Kevin Owens, it's kind of like he has the advantage in being the heel. He can do the dastardly things. You know, he can cheat to win. He can use every underhanded tactic and win. And it's when Sami Zayn finally does manage to pick up that win, it's going to be that much sweeter.
You know, we talked about psychology a little bit earlier on the New Japan G1 Climax card, and Kevin Owens fits right into that category of guys who still get it and who care about being a villain and play villain up to the hilt. Now,
I mean, not only as a wrestler, but as a commentator, too. When he puts on that headset, he is brilliant at that, too.
Right, and one of the few things that just absolutely stands out as a sterling moment in my mind in the last month of Raw is when he cut that promo when they had their feud during the highlight reel, and he basically said, "You should have been happy for me. You should have been so proud of me." It's like the total heel psychology where he's completely overlooking the fact that he made his big entrance into the spotlight by beating the crap out of his best friend. But no, you should have been happy for me that I was beating you up to get that spotlight. Like,
but yeah, but the thing is as warped as that seems, it's like you can kind of see from Kevin Owens' warped point of view how he would think in his mind that that's true, which makes it all the much better. You know, you could totally see that Kevin Owens is buying into this, and this is his actual thought process, that you should be thanking me. And it seems believable. It doesn't seem far-fetched in terms of his character. It seems bizarre in terms of reality, but in terms of his character, it just fits.
No, that's exactly what I mean. He's a throwback in the best possible kind of way to when heels totally believed their actions were justified and upright and that they couldn't understand why people didn't see it the way they did. He is so 1980s that he is the greatest thing ever.
He is without a doubt the best heel that WWE has right now.
Bar none. Yes. So I don't think we can top that. So let's leave it there and let's get cheap plugs. Jason, what do you want to sell this week?
All right, yeah, not something I want to sell because it's completely free, but one thing that I haven't plugged that I will plug now is CMLL on YouTube. It's Videos Oficiales CMLL, but just go on YouTube and search for CMLL. You'll find their official channel. They broadcast live on Mondays and Tuesdays and Fridays, and this is kind of my refugee from WWE wrestling program. So if any of you out there are kind of burned out on the draft or burned out on WWE, if you can't get your fix from New Japan World, if you still want more after you watch the G1 Climax, hey, head on to YouTube. I Chromecast it to my TV, so check out CMLL on YouTube. I mentioned New Japan World. I'm going to plug that too. Check out njpwworld.com, where you can watch all the G1 Climax and the Super J Cup and every other New Japan event live at stupid o'clock. It is the best 999 yen you can spend a month. What does that come out to, Stevie, in terms of U.S. dollars?
$9.43.
So it's going down a little bit. It was up near $10, but yeah, it's under $9.50 now. So that is a bargain at twice the price or half the price or whatever it is that Artie Reynolds used to say. I'll plug WrestleCrap.com too because there are buddies over there and they work hard. I'll plug VeggieBending.wordpress.com. You can check out my recipe for pizza crust. I made a pizza tonight, and it was delicious, so definitely check out that recipe. And I am on Twitter. You can find me at Great Sudoku. I do live tweet all of the New Japan events.
And I'll throw out a few plugs for things on the network as well, because we had a post-draft show that Jason was on, and Abby, and Killy Kev, and Doug Sudia. So by all means, go and check out the post-draft show if you didn't watch the draft this week. And Impact Implosion is coming back. It's going to be on Thursday nights now following AMP because Impact has moved to Thursdays. So something else you can look forward to, along with the return of the SmackDown Rundown coming back on Tuesday nights now that SmackDown is live there. So lots of good things going on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. And like everything that Jason just plugged, we give it to you for free. We don't charge here. So, hey, go on iTunes, keyword Angry Marks, subscribe, leave us some good feedback because we do it for you. We do it for the people. We are men of the people, but not people power. This is not Johnny Ace.
And yeah, you can also get it on Android. I'm looking up the app that I use to get it through. I'm trying to remember what this is called. Let me see what it's called. There is a podcasting app that I use on Android. It's not Google Play. It's called Beyond Pod. You can also get Angry Marks on Beyond Pod.
Yes, and I believe there are a few other apps that you can get it on as well. I know you can just search for it on our website and look on the podcast list. It'll show you all the different apps that we're compatible with.
And if you're really old school, you can just pull the RSS feed link and put that into your favorite aggregate reader, puller, whatever, and it'll do it for you.
Yeah, and while you're at it, why don't you just subscribe to our RSS feed, and then whatever you read your news with, we'll give you all sorts of updates all day long on the latest goings-on in pro wrestling. So another thing we do for free right here at AngryMarks.com. But that's going to do it for Thursday Night AMP this week. For Jason Harlan, a.k.a. The Great Sudoku, for myself, Stevie J, for our producer, Kelly Kev, and for our good friend, Jordan J. Garber, thanks for listening to the show. We'll be back next week to talk about the fallout of Battleground and some more New Japan shows. Good night, everybody.
You took it to the limit. Now you're falling off the edge. Too late to be forgiven. It's your turn. You get what you deserve. Get the body